What if I told you that for over a century, naval commanders accepted one terrifying reality? Once a torpedo was fired at your ship, you were basically dead. These underwater missiles travel at 80 miles per hour, can maneuver like guided bullets, and have been the ultimate ship killer since World War I. Every admiral knew the brutal truth. You can't shoot down a torpedo. But that just changed. After decades of failed attempts and billions in wasted research, artificial intelligence has finally cracked the impossible code. We're talking about underwater interceptors that can track, chase down, and destroy incoming torpedoes in mid-water, like some kind of aquatic missile defense system. Today, I'm exposing the AI breakthrough that's revolutionizing naval warfare. Technology so advanced that it's turning the hunter into the hunted beneath the waves. But here's what the Navy doesn't want you to know. This game-changing system almost never happened, and the story of how we got here reveals the most dramatic arms race in underwater warfare history. The underwater death sentence. Let me tell you why stopping torpedoes was considered impossible, because understanding the challenge reveals just how revolutionary this AI breakthrough really is. Picture this. It's 1914, and HMS Pathfinder becomes the first ship ever sunk by a self-propelled torpedo. The crew had no warning, no defense, no chance. In 30 seconds, a cutting-edge warship became a tomb for 259 sailors. That moment established the most terrifying rule in naval warfare. Torpedoes are unstoppable. Unlike missiles that fly through the air where you can see them coming, torpedoes attack from the underwater darkness. They're fast, maneuverable, and by the time you detect them, you have maybe 20 seconds before impact. The physics seemed insurmountable. How do you shoot down something underwater? Bullets don't work in water. Missiles can't operate submerged. Traditional naval guns are useless against targets moving beneath the surface. For over a century, the only defense against torpedoes was to not get hit in the first place, through speed, maneuverability, or sheer luck. But here's what naval engineers discovered in the 1980s. The problem wasn't the physics. It was the processing power. The human brain simply can't calculate the complex underwater ballistics needed to intercept a maneuvering torpedo. You need something that can think faster than any human mind. And that's when they realized they needed artificial intelligence. The decades of failure. Here's where our story takes a turn through decades of expensive failures that nearly killed the entire program. The first serious attempt came in the 1980s with the U.S. Navy's SSTD program, the Submarine Launched Torpedo Defense System. The concept was brilliant. Fire small interceptor torpedoes that could chase down and destroy incoming threats. But the technology wasn't ready. The computers of the 1980s couldn't process the complex calculations needed for underwater interception fast enough. Imagine trying to play a three-dimensional chess game where all the pieces are moving at 80 miles per hour through water that bends sound waves and distorts targeting data. The program burned through hundreds of millions of dollars before being quietly canceled in 2019. The Navy literally removed the systems from ships and pretended the whole thing never happened. It was like admitting that one of the fundamental problems of naval warfare was simply unsolvable. But while America was giving up, other nations were pushing forward. Germany's Atlas Electronic was developing something called SeaSpider, a torpedo interceptor that used advanced AI to solve the targeting problem. Israel was working with India on the Torbuster system. Even Japan started their own program in response to Chinese AI torpedoes. And that's when American defense contractors realized they were about to lose the most important underwater arms race in history. The AI breakthrough. Here's where artificial intelligence changed everything about underwater warfare. The breakthrough came when engineers realized they weren't just building a weapon. They were building an underwater fighter pilot that could think at the speed of light. Modern AI can process sonar data, calculate intercept courses, and adjust for water conditions faster than any human could even comprehend the threat. The new systems use machine learning algorithms that have been trained on thousands of torpedo attack scenarios. The AI can predict where a torpedo will be based on its current trajectory, water temperature, salinity levels, and even the evasive maneuvers it's likely to make. It's like having a chess grandmaster who can see 50 moves ahead, except the game is played underwater at supersonic speeds. But here's where it gets really incredible. These AI systems can discriminate between threats with over 90% accuracy. They can tell the difference between an incoming torpedo, a school of fish, a piece of debris, or even a friendly submarine. The days of shooting at shadows are over. The classified part that defense contractors don't want you to know is that some of these systems are designed to be completely autonomous. Once activated, they can detect, track, and engage threats without any human input. We're talking about AI that can make life and death decisions in milliseconds. And the response time is terrifying. From detection to interception in under 10 seconds. By the time a human operator even realizes there's a threat, the AI has already neutralized it. The global arms race. But this AI revolution isn't happening in isolation. It's driving the most intense underwater arms race since the Cold War. Every major naval power is scrambling to deploy these systems. Because the first navy to master AI torpedo defense gains an almost insurmountable advantage. Germany's SeaSpider system is entering production in 2025, with plans to equip every major European naval vessel. The system can engage multiple torpedoes simultaneously, creating an underwater shield that makes ships nearly invulnerable to submarine attack. Israel and India's Torbuster program has taken a different approach. They're building interceptors that can be launched from helicopters, creating airborne anti-torpedo coverage for entire naval formations. Imagine anti-submarine helicopters that can shoot down torpedoes before they even reach their targets. But the most advanced development is coming from an unexpected source: Japan. Their response to Chinese AI torpedoes includes interceptors that can operate in swarms, coordinating their attacks through quantum communication networks that are impossible to jam or intercept. And here's what should terrify submarine commanders worldwide. These systems are designed to learn from every engagement. Every torpedo they intercept makes the AI smarter, faster, and more deadly. We're looking at weapons that evolve in real time. The submarines that have dominated naval warfare for over a century are about to discover that their ultimate weapon, the torpedo, has finally met its match. The reality check. But here's the reality check that keeps naval engineers honest. Building AI that can stop torpedoes is one thing. Building AI that works reliably in combat is something else entirely. The ocean is the most challenging environment on Earth for any technology, and underwater combat happens faster than human reflexes can follow. The early test results are promising, but not perfect. Current systems have success rates between 70 and 90%, which sounds impressive until you realize that in naval warfare, a 10% failure rate means ships still get sunk and sailors still die. There's also the cost factor that defense budgets can't ignore. Each interceptor torpedo costs between $50,000 and $200,000, while the incoming threats might cost even less. It's the same economic problem that plagues all missile defense. You're using expensive interceptors to stop potentially cheaper weapons. And here's the classified concern that keeps admirals awake at night. What happens when the enemy develops AI torpedoes specifically designed to defeat AI interceptors? We could be looking at an underwater arms race between competing artificial intelligences, with human crews as helpless spectators. But despite these challenges, the technology is advancing so rapidly that operational deployment is happening faster than anyone expected. The deployment timeline. Here's where our story reaches its climax, with revelations about deployment timelines that will change how you think about current naval tensions. The first operational AI torpedo interceptors are scheduled for deployment in 2025, which means this technology could already be protecting naval vessels in contested waters. The U.S. Navy's new anti-torpedo defense systems are being installed on over 165 vessels through 2030, representing a $60 million investment in underwater AI warfare. But the most advanced systems remain classified, with capabilities that won't be revealed until they're used in actual combat. Intelligence reports suggest that some navies are already conducting live-fire tests of these systems, using actual torpedoes to validate their AI interceptors. We're talking about underwater combat exercises that simulate real warfare conditions with weapons that could sink billion-dollar warships. And here's what should concern every submarine commander. The AI is learning from every test, every simulation, every engagement. By the time these systems see actual combat, they'll have the equivalent experience of thousands of underwater battles. Conclusion. The AI revolution in torpedo defense represents the end of submarine supremacy as we've known it for over a century. The underwater predators that have dominated naval warfare are about to discover that their prey can finally fight back with artificial intelligence that thinks faster than human minds can comprehend. But AI torpedo interceptors are just the beginning of how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing military technology. The same machine learning algorithms protecting ships underwater are now being integrated into the most expensive weapons platforms ever built, America's strategic bomber fleet. Speaking of AI military applications that cost billions, next week I'm exposing the ultimate showdown between two generations of stealth bombers, the legendary B-2 Spirit versus the revolutionary B-21 Raider. We're talking about a $30 billion question. Can America's newest stealth bomber justify replacing the most advanced aircraft ever built? Or are we spending a fortune to fix problems that don't exist? If you want to understand how generational leaps in military technology create impossible budget choices that could determine America's strategic future, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. The B-2 versus B-21 breakdown drops next Tuesday, and trust me, what I'm going to reveal about this stealth bomber battle will completely change how you think about America's nuclear deterrent. Do you think AI torpedo interceptors will make submarines obsolete? Or will underwater warfare evolve into battles between competing artificial intelligences? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because this AI arms race is just getting started.